Good evening, folks. Mark here. So today I'm going to be discussing basically one topic with two different reasons. Okay, so one basically, if there's ever a time when your car, if it's an automatic transmission and your car won't start in park, instead of jump starting it, try shifting it down into neutral. Now, this happened to a coworker's car years ago. I was busy. He came in, he needed to jump start, so the manager went out and jump started his car, and they tried to jump start it, and came back after a few minutes and said, "I don't know what's wrong with this car, but it's not taking a jump start." I said, well, I've spent my lifetime, the last 25 years or so, owning various forms of shitboxes. So I've, picked up, I'm not a mechanic by any stretch of the imagination, but I've picked up a few little tips and tricks here and there. So take a look at what he's got, So I went out and said, well, first let me try to start it, because sometimes I have the magic touch with cars. And so I using the ignition, I cranked it and just nothing. And that struck me as odd. He obviously drove it there that day earlier, the start of his shift. So something must have really been draining that battery in order for it to have nothing. Usually it'd be at least, a click, 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 like some indication that the battery, there's some glimmer of life left in that vehicle. So anyway, I ratcheted up and down through the gears a couple of times, and tried to put it in park again. And then still nothing, just not even just absolutely completely dead. So I said, well, let me put it down in neutral. Vroom, fired right up. And basically what, in an automatic transmission, there is a pin. When you put it in park, a pin engages into the gears, and that's called a parking pawl. That's P-A-W-L. And that had broken. So sometimes if you can't get your car going, if it's not going to start in park, that means the parking pawl may be broken, and you're going to want to put it in neutral. Now, bear in mind, that means the whole time when it was broken, he had the car was just basically in neutral. So if you don't have the parking brake set, luckily he was on a flat patch of ground, but it was in a parking lot, but if there's any slight incline, your car could just roll like it was in neutral without the e-brake set. So that ties into something I had alluded to earlier. Now, what causes the parking pawl to break is if you put your car in park without setting the parking brake, or sometimes, it's a pull, usually between the seats, a lever. Sometimes, in some of the older cars, it's a foot pedal. You step on. I've had plenty of vehicles with that. It's been a pedal you step on with your left foot, and but always set that, because when you have, most people just put their car in park and take it for granted the car's not going to go anywhere. But eventually, that's very detrimental to the transmission, because for one thing, the parking pawl could eventually break, and you get the gears here, and then the pawl goes in there, and then that could break, and then render your car mobile when it's not supposed to be. Also, that puts when you do just put it in park, that puts a strain when the parking pawl, even if the parking pawl is fully functional, it puts a strain on the transmission, because now the transmission is what's holding the 2, 3, 4, 5,000 pounds vehicle in place. So you always want to supplement that with the parking brake. You don't want to rely simply on the transmission. That's why big heavy vehicles that have automatic transmissions, I've driven a lot of box trucks over the years. I've driven fire trucks, buses, you name it. And they generally just have a neutral. They don't have a park option, because they don't want the drivers relying on little itty bitty parking pawl holding this ginormous, 50,000 pound vehicle. So, you have to put it in neutral and then pull the air brake. Now, in a car, Generally, the park, if you just put it in park, it will hold, but you're relying, it's not good for the transmission. It puts a lot of strain on it. So it's a good idea to always put your car in park and pull the parking brake. My car's automatic. I bought it brand new in about 6.5 years ago in January of 2017. And ever since I've owned it, I've always put it in park, pull the parking brake. And everyone says, oh, the CVTs, they'll crap out on you, 50,000 miles. Well, I have 97 and change on my car. Never had an issue with the transmission whatsoever. So, anyway, yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Good night and good luck.